Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Aligned. Erin here, and I'm sipping my coffee. It's 9 a.m. I have a big, bright window in front of me, which, if you know much about the environments in human design, that is my ideal environment. That is the artificial shores. I'm looking outside at this giant pine tree forest, and I'm also sitting inside cozy with my coffee. And I just finished listening to this episode, and I'm really excited to, as always, share it with you all. This is a conversation between B and a client of hers, Kelly Hughes. And as always with this podcast, our intention is to introduce you all to expansive, inspiring people, all with their own short story to share. But basically, the red thread is alignment and finding, creating, climbing their way through the mud in order to get to what an aligned life actually is, and to also showcase the extreme diversity and the breadth of experience of what alignment might look like for different people. It's not about prescribing this is what your life should look like. Oh, you're a generator. Oh, you're a 2-4 profile. Like, this is what your aligned life looks like. No, it's actually to show you that there are billions and billions of different outcomes and ways in which one's life can look and feel and taste and touch, and the whole point is to find that alignment for yourself. How do you get there? Well, through your intuition, of course. And I've been having a lot of conversations with some like new friends, people that I have that have been coming into my field lately. And I'm loving how more and more people are becoming introduced to or aware of human design. And for anyone who is relatively new, or again, maybe they've looked up their chart, read a few things, it resonates with them, but that's about as far as they've gotten. We do have a foundations mini course. And as the name implies, it's really about setting a strong foundation, which again is B's specialty. She breaks this system down in a really clear, a really easy to digest and understand way, so that you can then get on Instagram and, go through the Instagram carousels that talk about the different energy types and be able to make more out of it. Or again, get on ChatGPT and learn more about your design, but have that strong foundation so that, again, you don't end up missing the point where it's just another knowledge system that you're taking in and taking in and taking in, but not actually clear on what's important and what do you do with it. Because that's what I'm seeing in these conversations that I'm having is there's still a lot of surface level, super surface level understanding without awareness of what actually matters and how do you put that to practice. So wanted to put that out there because it's not something that we have really publicly advertised much. It's a really easy way to just kind of like dive in, quick and dirty, get your foundation set up so that you can make better use of the information that is out there in the world. So, that being said, I don't want to take up too much time, but this episode is, yeah, a really beautiful, beautiful conversation. And the girls really talk about what happens when life cracks you open and you choose to respond by waking up instead of shutting down, like unfortunately a lot of the world tends to do. So, B, again, brings in her client, Kelly, who is a 1-3 emotional manifesting generator, mother of 2. And she shares her story moving through burnout, survival mode, and yeah, sharing a really vulnerable and personal moment when everything shifted after a routine surgery that turned into something much more serious. So it's it's an honest conversation about emotional regulation, motherhood, self worth, and again, all the ways that we tend to override our inner knowing until, quite simply, we can't anymore. And then from that point, how do you find your way back? So, without further ado, I'll let you all get into this beautiful episode and see you on the other side.
Hello, my love. I feel like
Hello.
I've seen you so much this week. We had a call
I
yesterday,
know.
but
I
this
love it.
today. How you doing? How's your day going?
Good. Yeah, really good. It's going. That's for sure. It's been a chilly one here in Perth, but it's been good. Yeah, I'm
Good.
excited for this conversation too.
Me too. I had like so many beautiful conversations this morning. I had a live with another client this morning. I'm just sat basking and like, wow, like this is my
Yeah,
job.
I
So
know.
cool.
So good.
So for context, we Kelly is a client of mine, 1-3 manifesting generator emotional authority, and we've been working together for 2 months now. About a month,
Yep.
yeah. And we thought we'd just jump on and share Kelly's story. You know, there's a big story here, and I don't think I've even heard the depths of really what activated you into the work that you do. So do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll get
Yes.
into the roots of it all?
Yeah. So I'm Kelly, as B said. 1-3 emotional manifesting generator, living here in sunny Perth in Western Australia, originally from the UK, from Wales in the UK, and I moved here about 20 years ago. And my work now consists of supporting women through human design and emotional healing. So bridging the two to really help women come back to themselves, essentially, really supporting them on their healing journey, with a high focus on like the emotional processing of that part of the journey, as well as uncovering really like who they are, and really leveraging their human design to support that. Yeah.
Amazing. And it is, it's so beautiful that you do this work because human design is one thing, but without the awareness and without the actual healing underneath it, if you're not integrating it and you're not aware of why, even that you might be repelling your own design or like resisting or whatever, it doesn't go anywhere. And so I
Yeah.
love that you blend these two. So let's dive in because I even want to hear this. Like, what for you was the we all have I call it our origin story of how
Mm.
the life before the awareness and the work and the life after. And yeah, tell us a little bit about your kind of life before you became aware and you had your kind of awakening to the work that you do.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I've actually been reflecting on this morning as I've been in and out of, popping to the shops and doing a few bits and pieces and hanging the washing out. And I was just reflecting back to basically when I first became a mother was kind of the start. And actually at the time I was going through my Saturn return and I didn't know it then. I didn't know any of this work. I was not conscious, spiritually aware, any of that. I was always kind of like into sort of like personal development and fitness and always trying to improve myself, from a place, well, back then of like unworthiness. But I was, just reflecting that was definitely this like catalyst, probably awakening, but I ignored the signs basically at that point. And for those that don't know what a Saturn return is, it's this shift in your identity almost, and it's like the universe like pushing you into this next version of you to kind of like not grow up as such, but like
Mm.
this is the next level. And for me, that was motherhood. And I just remember feeling so uncomfortable in this space of this in between space of now I have this like little baby to look after. And I still was like kind of longing for my old life where I used to party a lot. I used to be out every weekend, drinking, having the best time. Not much responsibilities. I mean, I was married at the time, but we had a very great social life. And it was just this real just feeling of like I'm not ready to kind of leave that life, that less responsibility. And then I have this baby, and then I guess what came with that was this internal conflict, this huge internal conflict, this dysregulation of like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then of course what unfolded from there is, a newborn baby that didn't sleep, had colic, and I just spiraled. And that was my first taste of like anxiety,
that anxious feeling of like, oh my God, my head would be spinning all the time. I would be worried about the baby and just everything. And then from there, again, it just continued to spiral and spiral. And I just was living in this space of like overwhelm, anxiousness. But on the outside, no one would ever have known, really. I put a very good mask on myself. And then I returned actually back to work after a year. And same thing, I was trying to be the best, the best worker, trying to prove myself. And for those that are familiar with human design, I have an undefined ego, heart center. So again, I didn't know it back then, but I was unconsciously, constantly trying to prove my worth in all areas of my life. At work, I would, overwork, do extra hours, like worry constantly that I'd had or hadn't sent the email or whatever it was. It was just this constant feeling of like, I'm just not good enough. I'm not as good as everyone else. I hadn't been to uni. I hadn't had a degree, and yet I was in these positions with other people. Like, oh my God, I just didn't feel like I was worthy of it. So I would overcompensate all the time in order to feel like, okay, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a good job. And, I did do a good job because I got praised all the time. The amount of awards that I won, and high scores at the end of the year through like I was just doing so well, but like I still never felt good enough ever, like never ever. And that was basically my life for like a good 3-4 years, just this constant cycle of feeling never good enough, overachieving. And yeah, I was very conditioned, in relation to life and what that should look like. And that was buy a house, get engaged, get married, have a couple of kids, go on your couple of holidays every year, climb the corporate ladder. That was basically my way of living. And I thought that was what everyone was to do. And the amount of like internal conflict and discomfort that I just felt along the way, I didn't take notice of it. I was just like, well, this is just life is just hard, and this is what it's like to be a mom and working and doing all the things. And I would get my release, on the weekend with my wine and all the things.
Yeah.
And then I had my second son, and I had matured a bit at that point. And of course, as we grow and mature, we the symptoms, I guess, did get less and less, but it was still very much there. And I just remember never being able to make a decision. I was never able to make a decision ever. Like I was constantly seeking outside of myself, like talking to my husband all about, and I'm not talking like big decisions, I'm talking like small decisions, like day-to-day decisions was a real struggle for me because I just had no confidence in what I was doing and the decisions I was making. Again, like all driven by these, limiting beliefs that I had about myself. I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so obviously having a second child, I had learnt, obviously being a third line as well, I had definitely learnt a lot from my first experience of going through the newborn stage, and it was definitely a lot smoother, but there was still, I was still very much, when I went back to work after my second, similar patterns just kept emerging. I'd got a new role, and again, major imposter syndrome, I'm not worthy of being here, and all of the stories.
Such a
And
love
then,
vibe as well.
yeah. And that's it. Like I didn't know any of this information back then, that I was a 1-3 profile in human design. And that explains a lot, never feeling like I knew enough, never feeling like I was, had enough knowledge behind me. But then I knew that I needed to just give things a go and just learn as I go. Like that I've lived my whole life that way. But just really like trusting that and trusting myself. If I make a mistake, like it's not the end of the world, I'm going to learn from it. But I was so fearful to make a mistake because what would that mean about me? What would people think? So yeah, looking back on reflection, this is why I love this work and all this information that I have now, because I can just look back to that past version of me and just be like, oh, you were doing the best that you could. But if I could go back, and just, oh, I would. I'd be like, and then my real awakening happened. So I have two young boys, and it was always a question between me and my husband, would we have a third, you know? And if we did, or could we handle another boy? Because I would, of course, have loved to have a girl. But that was my way of thinking, you know, like I would love to have a girl. And have that bond with her, you know, and just, yeah, have the mum daughter kind of relationship, probably the relationship that I maybe didn't have, you know, with my mum growing up. Love my mum to bits. She did the best she could, but she was a very busy working mum, you know, and there's a lot of stuff there. But yeah, I really kind of did desire that. And yeah, we would in and ah in, and you know, I was like, oh, but the new, like, it's just hard. Raising kids is hard. Like, that was my belief. And anyway, I basically went in for some keyhole surgery because I had some fibroids after my second pregnancy, which are just basically these growths in the womb space. And even now, like, on reflection, I'm like, that I could have probably reduced that with the tools that I have now, because that was very much likely, you know, trauma. You know, didn't know back then. And yeah, I went in for the simple day surgery and to remove these fibroids. I woke up from the surgery. I was obviously out of it. And at that point, I had like major internal bleeding, and they were really concerned about me. And they were like, we actually need to rush you back to the operating theatre. And there was another lady actually going in. They like kind of pushed her away, got me on the operating theatre. Had called my husband at this point and was like, actually, I think I was on the phone, and I was just like, I don't want to die. Like, it was very traumatic, because obviously internal bleeding is like very dangerous, very, very dangerous. So in order to, I guess, save my life and prevent anything from happening, they had to do an emergency hysterectomy, which, you know, as a female, like, that's like, I just felt like, oh my God, like, my womanhood is like gone, you know, like I was just like, I can't have another baby. And I felt guilty for even thinking that, because, you know, I should have been grateful for what I have. And of course I was, but just to have that choice taken away is, yeah, that was a huge, like, yeah, that was huge for me. And yeah, so what was supposed to be a very simple day surgery and 1 day off work actually turned into like 6 or 7 days in hospital recovering from this like major surgery. And I'd already had a C-section, so then I have another scar there, you know, where they had to operate. And I just remember laying in that hospital bed thinking, like, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, basically nearly dying, or like close to. It just really wakes you up, like, what are you doing, lady? You're just living in survival. You're operating from this place of like, what are you doing, you know? And that was just my huge wake up call. And because up until this point I had seen signs before, you know, around like the healing journey, and I was actually working with a holistic counselor, so more like talk therapy. But I remember he was even reflecting back, like I remember him talking about like inner child and like giving yourself love, and it was just like it went over my head. I didn't get it until I reflected back and think, oh, I see what he was trying to do there, but I just wasn't absorbing it. I wasn't taking notice of it. And yeah, as soon as, you know, I'd recovered from my surgery, I thought, I can't do this anymore. There's got to be more to life than this, and just surviving every day and waking up and going through the motions and just feeling there. And that's what I thought, nah, I'm gonna sign up for this group mentorship healing program. I didn't know what I was signing up for, and that was the history.
How did you come across that out of interest? Because like, actually, you know, yeah, it does happen that way. Like, you've got nudges and nudges, and you don't receive it until you're ready. But I'm curious, like, how did that drop into your world? Because
yeah, I used to follow this lady. She's like a social influencer over East, and she had a guest speaker on her podcast. And I was just like, oh my God, what is this? Like, what is this information? And I was like, this is crazy. So then I started following her on Instagram. And it's just, you know what it's like when you follow someone new and you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And just everything was just like, my whole body was just like, you just have to do this. I couldn't explain it. I just couldn't understand. I tried to explain it to my husband, and I said, look, I know this is a bit of money here. and we don't know what's going to be on the other side, but I just really feel like I need to do this. And I'm very lucky. I have an amazing supportive husband who supports me in anything that I want to do, and he was like, yep, go for it. But even that, like spending money on myself for something that's like, I didn't know what I was going to get at the end. It's not like tangible. Like I couldn't, it's not like a handbag that I could like kind of walk around. Oh, look at my new handbag. It's this experience that I was learning about myself and emotions and the mind and ego and just everything. And yeah, that was definitely a huge transformation, those 6 weeks. And then from then I just continued. I was like, I need to keep going with this. This is just amazing. Signed up for another 6 months, and I just felt like I got goosebumps because I just felt like a new woman. I was like, oh my God, I can think clearly. I can like learning about emotions and, feeling triggered and being able to process in the moment and not making things outside of me like mean anything about me. And just, I learned so much, and I really did heal a lot in that container. And that's where I actually found human design. That
I was going to ask
stumbled.
this, like, so when did human design?
Yeah. Okay, so human design, I remember I was on a group call, and I think it was like every month there would be like a guest speaker, and there was this guest speaker talking about human design. And I'd heard of human design before, like I heard some of the women speaking about it in the container that I was in. I was like, oh yeah, it didn't grab my attention. And then I knew that I was a manifesting generator, I think. And then the speaker was a manifesting generator too, and she was just explaining about the energy type and how that works. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my God, oh my God, what is this? Because the things that she was saying about, the manifesting generator energy type, the pivoting, this feeling of like feeling flaky all the time because you can't stick to one thing, just all of it. I was like, oh, I felt like she was literally speaking into my soul. I was like, I need to know more about this. Like, this is a very similar experience that I had from listening to the lady speak on the podcast, where my whole body had like goosebumps, and I was like, what is this? Like, I need more. I need more of this. And I actually messaged her and I was like, where did you learn all about this? And then, of course, one line went down the rabbit hole, didn't I? Like, had a look at the lady that she did the training with, had a call with her, and I was like, sign me up. I was like, this is my thing. Like, I just knew that this is going to be the thing that was kind of going to change the direction of my life. And, the work that I did, I just knew, yeah, this is it. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't logicalize it. My body was just telling me to do it. Yeah. And that's kind of how it all unfolded with human design. I went on to, study it, and I just love it so much.
It really is. It is, and it just brings so much context. I think, I'm sure you've had this too, where people come into your field and they're like, oh my God, how do you know this about me? And it's like, no, like, oh, this is so resonant. I'm like, yeah, because it's your truth. Like,
yes,
it's nothing new. It's just information and data that you're here to remember. And so when you're reconnected with that, and it happens this way for everyone, it was exactly the same for me. Guest speaker on a call, and I was like, wow, she speaks so like powerfully about this, and went down the rabbit hole. 3 years of not really like doing anything with it, and then it was like, bam, you need to use this in your work, because it just makes everything so much clearer.
It does. It really does. And what it also did for me is like it highlights obviously the conditioning in the world. Like, it really does highlight that, and your own conditioning, but it also highlighted to me the conditioning in this personal development, healing kind of space. And that was the thing. This is why I always say to people, this was like the cherry on top of the cake for me, because I had already invested so much in, the inner work, the deep healing, which I had experienced so many shifts. Now it's like, okay, I was really getting to know myself. I was really, becoming at peace with myself, but there was still felt like something was still missing. There's something still missing, and I just couldn't kind of put my finger on it. And then when human design landed, I was like, oh my God, this is the missing piece, because all these little nuances that I started to uncover, and I knew that they were there, but this just kind of, and I've got a very logical mind. I love things to make sense. I was like, like, just for example, things like being emotional authority, like that was mind blowing for
Yeah.
me, and understanding my wave. And I've got one of the most intense waves, 1222.
Mm.
So that in itself, and just a reflection on, my childhood. I was always labeled like the moody child, the moody cow in my teenage years. And I've carried that into like adulthood. I've carried that identity. And it's like, that's part of you, but it's not just you. That's just one part. And obviously learning it all about emotions, I was like, okay, like this just all makes sense now. But there was still, I just remember before human design, like with my wave, like I would have couple of days where I just feel really low, and I would be like, I'm not sure why, because nothing has happened. Like I've not been triggered, like no one's done anything. And it was just, yeah, learning that was like, okay, like this is nothing needs to trigger you sometimes you can just feel low, and that's okay. And especially with mine as well, like just really, yeah, needing to kind of go there and like feel, and not kind of be in my head, when I'm in that, was just so healing. One, just to kind of uncover that and be aware of that, and then two, really like embodying that. And that's kind of like taken me to that next level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're so good at that too. Like,
Mm.
so many times you've messaged me and been like, I'm moving through this today. I'm very aware that I'm in a low, and so we're not taking anything at face value
Yeah.
right now. But I'm feeling this way, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
when you imagine being given that gift back of like, you're not wrong. You don't have to go and find a reason, because for me, like I would do the same. I would seek a reason. So
Yeah.
I would have to work it out, and I would have to label it, and so I'd
Yeah.
go and find something that was the reason when it wasn't really, and then
Mm-hmm.
I would fix it into me. So then I would make it even bigger, and then the whole emotional wave became something that it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, my waves, but pre-healing, pre-human design were rough and intense. And I swear they used to last for months probably. And now they come and go because I can kind of navigate, because I'm riding it. Whereas before I was resisting the wave. I'd be like, what's wrong with me? I'm broken. Oh my God, I'm broken. And it's like,
Yeah.
now I'm like, no, I'm not broken. I just need to ride the wave. And like, yes, it's uncomfortable, but on the other side, like what goes up must come down, and vice versa, and like once you can kind of ride it, it's just, yeah, it doesn't affect you as much.
And it really is that way. Like on the
Mm.
other side of navigating an emotional wave successfully, there is gold at the end of the rainbow. There is
Yes.
gold. And it's
Yes.
so cool because then once you get more evidence, you're like, ooh, I'm in a low. Like,
Yeah.
what
What's gonna come?
is? Yeah,
Yeah.
like I get
Yes.
excited now. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
unfortunate, but also this is so cool. know? So, when did you realize? So, you went through the healing journey yourself. You
Mm.
discovered human design. When was the moment that you started to be like, okay, this is work. This is what I want to do. Like actually, I
Yeah.
want to serve people through these methodologies.
Yeah, I think it was probably just signing up to learn human design, that I was like, I'm gonna do this. And
Yeah.
I was around other women in different containers, and of course like coaches and mentors that I had, I would look up to them and aspire to be like them one day. Like I thought, and I had this belief that you can't have a job that you love. Like that's rubbish. That's absolute rubbish. Like that was my literal belief. Like work's hard. Like I had a lot of beliefs around work, and providing and everything else. Like, so that's been huge, just unraveling all of that. But I really did have this belief, like, nah, you can't, that's a load of rubbish. And when you can actually, when you have the evidence and see people doing it, and see people genuinely lit up by work and being of service, like
Mhm.
I just thought, I want that. Like my sacral was just like, yes, I was responding to that. I want that. And yeah, when I think when I first kind of accepted that and like put that out there, that's when human design fell in. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. And I was like, well, I'm just going to start a little side hustle and just do readings and just see where it takes me. And then I was saying to you yesterday, like how that all unfolded when I left my corporate job after 12 years, again, that was huge for me. And that took me
Even the
probably
way
12,
that happened too, right? Like
yeah, yeah. And it took me 12 months to even kind of get to that point, to even, yeah, resign, because I set the intention. This is what I'm going to do. I'm studying this modality now. By the end of the year, I'm going to resign. Like I just knew that this, where I was not aligned for me anymore. Even though on paper, great salary, bucket loads of sick leave when you have kids, that's something very important. All the reasons not to leave. But it was, again, my body was just telling me like it's time. It's time. And I just had to give this a go. And then, yeah, before I left, I was like building my website, setting things up. And, I'd always had this desire to really support people emotionally as well. And I always thought, oh, I'd love to do that one day. And I'm not sure how. But again, as soon as I sort of like put it out into the universe and just didn't do anything with it, that's when like the next modality sort of landed in my lap. And I remember so clearly, I just resigned from my role of 12 years. It was the Christmas holidays. We were away for a couple of days. I remember it so clearly. And I just remember scrolling Instagram and someone had followed me and I was like, oh. And then I thought, she's a root cause therapist. I thought, oh, what's that? And then I went and had a look and I was like, oh my God, this again, full body, like goosebumps, the same feeling that I had, like, when discovering human design. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is how I can support people, emotionally. Like, I was like, I'm in, so then I was studying that whilst standard managing all the things. And yes, and then I just I really lent into my design, especially in business, being brand new. I was like, I just got to play here and experiment. Like this is, yeah, I'm never going to feel like I know enough or that I'm educated enough or have enough experience. That's that one line. But the third line like needs to just do it. So it's about, yeah, experimenting and just having compassion for myself in those moments where I feel like, oh, can't do this, but just one foot in front of the other and not really having too much of a plan. Like it's good to have, like goals and objectives, but if there's anything I've learned through human design, and especially me and my design, is like I'm here to respond. So it's just letting things like unfold really naturally. Yeah, rather than being so controlling, and which is how I used to operate, what's my 5-year plan? I've got to do this and this and this and this and just like not giving myself a chance to respond to anything because I was so like controlling, yeah.
That's such a good point with that, because I think this is one of the hardest pieces when you uncover your design, is like actually allowing yourself to do it differently. And the majority of people who are generators and are here to respond, there's a struggle with that response piece, because it's like, what do you mean respond? Because there's so much planning and structure, and yes, we need structure, but ultimately so much trying to control it that there's no space left to just let life bring what you need. There might be something that comes in and it's the response cue, but you're like, oh, but like I need to go do that first, or I need to go, then it's gone because the availability goes with it. And so learning that actually, oh, there's actually something right here and right now, and if I don't follow it when I'm available, it's gonna go, or I don't have to figure it out. I don't need to conceptualize this.
Yeah. There's no space for it, like you said. And yeah, I went through this phase of really, and then that's why it's an experiment as well, because it's like you can have a reading, you can research, but unless you do something with the information, that's all it's going to be, is information. Like you actually have to experiment and try to do things differently. And if you're really, really struggling to do that, that's where like the healing stuff comes in, because that's obviously, blocks that you have that you need to work on. I had leveraged human design so much in my personal life, with decision making, with my relationships, parenting, absolute game changer for parenting. And then I'm here like kind of trying to build this business. Again, so much conditioning, in the online space around how to build a business and everything else. And I thought, why am I not leveraging my design in my business? Duh. And then, so it's like it flows in all areas of your life. And that response piece is just huge. So yeah, what I was going to say about, like what potential blocks you might have is, if you've got a generator and they're just so prone to people pleasing, and you just say, well, you know, if your sacral says no, it's a no. It's like, oh, but if they're so dysregulated and they just, you know, they literally can't feel in their body, they're so up in their mind, like I was, you know, it's like you can tell someone till they're blue in the face to listen to their sacral, but unless they're just not connected to their body and, you know, as I said, like so dysregulated, it's never going to happen. So sometimes, and this is why obviously I blend the two, because in order to really embody your design, you need to be calm, you need to be regulated, you need to be in tune with the signs, the whispers, your intuition. And you can't do that if you're all up here and anxious and stressed and overwhelmed and just your nervous system is just frazzled. You cannot. It's impossible.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love that you touched on this, and you touched on this earlier in the part on how you said there's a lot of conditioning in the personal development world. You know, it's like go meditate, go journal, go awesome things, you know, all
Yeah.
great tools, but a lot of people weaponize it against themselves because they make it into a to-do list. It's like must meditate for 10 minutes, must do this, must do that. Now you're even more burnt out and dysregulated because you're doing things that sometimes don't even align with you. And also these pieces on you, someone could say do affirmations 10 times a day, but if you don't fully believe that you can like step into your power, I am stepping into my power now. Are you though? Because you still
Yeah.
said yes to the 5 things you wanted to say no to. And
Yeah.
that, unless you're rewiring like the like you do, the root of the
Yeah.
problem of, oh, it's because when I was younger, I was told that I couldn't do anything that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do. I was always told no. I was always told that something else was more important. And so
Yeah.
I now have a belief that everything else comes before me
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
sacrificed. So tell us a bit about root cause therapy because it is such a potent body of work. Like people need to know.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love it. And it's so funny because what we were just talking about then, I've actually got a client at the moment who is trained in human design and all like so many different modalities, and she's so aware. Um, but she's got so much awareness of her design, but she cannot embody it. Hence why she's working with me, because she's at this point now where she's so aware. She knows, you know, that she's dysregulated and that she's distracting herself and that all of it. And it's like she knows that she needs to integrate now and bring the two. And this is why, yeah, where we're doing root cause therapy sessions with her and we're doing things in between to really support her mind body connection, get her nervous system regulated. And I'm not giving her 20 million steps of meditation and breath work. And I love all those things. I really, really do. But I'm giving her things that she can use her authority to choose, like what's going to be good for her, you know? But yeah, root cause therapy is very, very powerful. I love this healing modality, especially for people that are new to feeling their feelings, so to speak. Because again, like, well, I wasn't anyway, taught about emotions, and you know, I was just, what, you know, why are you crying? Like, don't cry, there's, be a good girl and get on, and you know, what's wrong,
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I was never taught about emotions and how to, you know, express them in a healthy way. And yeah, it's took obviously some time for me to learn that, and now I'm supporting others to do the same. And I love root cause therapy because if you just say something, oh, well, just go feel your feelings, well, how are they going to do that when they're so up in their head? Like they don't know, you don't know where to start. So in a root cause therapy session, you know, I'm holding this, you know, very safe energetic space for people, and I'm actually guiding them very, very gently through feeling their emotions. Like that's literally what we're doing. And of course, we're working with specific fears and beliefs. Or we can actually go back to the root cause, you know, whether that's in childhood, maybe a past life, maybe it's generational. And we're actually, yeah, we're going to the root of it, and we're rewiring it, we're clearing it, we're processing it, and we are yeah, reframing your perception of that event and what actually happened. Because what could happen for a 5-year-old and what you make that believe about yourself is quite different to like an adult's perspective now. So we're going there, we're looking at the actual event where we're processing all of that stored emotion which has been trapped there for all of that time, which is manifesting in the body. And we're actually getting a clearer perception, and we're actually, yeah, we're rewiring that belief. to a more
Mm.
positive one, and then we're coming back now so that that doesn't, affect your behavior or your thoughts in today's life, which is then going to make you be able to say no. If your sacral says no, you'll be able to say no, because that particular belief of, oh, if I have to please everyone else to get love, that's gone now. And that's
It's
how.
so
Yeah.
powerful.
So it's
So
really just supporting this deconditioning journey. It's like not supercharging it, but it just clears some of these tight kind of beliefs and things that really have a hold on people.
because they really
Yeah.
do. I mean,
Yeah.
I still do to an extent. Like it's
Mm.
not, it's faded, I would say, and I'm gathering new evidence now.
Yeah.
But I had a huge abandonment wound, and it
Mm.
showed up repeated. I mean, I did regressions on it, so a lot of past lives. There was a lot of I was always betrayed by the man kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then I had a relationship with my father where like that story played out where he didn't abandon, but it was like
Yeah.
affair vibes. And but in my young child perspective, I was abandoned. And so
Yeah.
I could never quite understand it being an
Mm-hmm.
adult because, like you said about your client, done the work, is
Mm-hmm.
aware. So I was like, but I'm aware that this can show up this way. But also, my dad has never abandoned me. Like, he's the best dad in the world. But as a young girl, 10 years old, her best friend, first
Mm-hmm.
male figure in her life, chose a different
Mm.
circumstance, that's abandonment. And so I would project that onto every single
Mm-hmm.
relationship, but then I would blame the man. So it would be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm just being abandoned again. It's just a pattern of mine. And I weaponized it against myself
Yeah.
until I met Ben. And I was like, wait a minute. The common denominator here is that, yes, they abandoned.
Yeah.
But what am I doing to
Yeah.
make that happen?
It's
And
almost like you're reinforcing that. You're just reinforcing
yeah,
it,
I
reinforcing it,
was
reinforcing it.
recreating,
Yeah.
and I got to the point where I was that aware that I would
Mm.
literally see the flick of the switch when that narrative would start playing
Mm-hmm.
out. It would be like amazing love story, and then it would just switch, and I would get so needy, and
Yeah.
it would be like, okay, they abandoned me,
Yeah.
and it was this moment where I remember saying, I'm so aware. Wrote my dad a letter, had a word with him,
Mm-hmm.
had a moment with them where I was like, I'm terrified that you're going to abandon me. And I don't
Mm.
know what to do because I know this is a thing that's alive within me. And I got to
Mm.
that root of it.
Yeah.
And then he, you got to have the right partner too. But he then gave me fresh evidence of like, I'm not going
Mm.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And repatterning that, like now you'd
Yeah.
have to literally convince me he was like, I'd be like, no, you're not. What do you mean? And you can change that and it's so powerful, but you can't change that just by deciding.
Yeah, 100%. I just got goosebumps when you were saying that. And that's such a huge thing. It's like the awareness, isn't it? It's just the awareness. And sometimes it needs to come into awareness multiple
Oh
times
yeah.
for you to be like, okay, right. Okay, I've got this now. And it seems like that switch was just like, okay. And you being vulnerable and like actually saying it out loud, like, I've got this pattern. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
And actually dealing with that, like, I'm scared, I'm terrified. That's like the healing work, isn't it? Is like choosing a different action to the one that you were doing
Yes.
before.
And I
Yeah.
mean, when I did that, I still remember that night. We were in a restaurant. I
Mm.
was like, I need to talk to you later. And it just all came out in the restaurant. There's me sobbing in this restaurant.
Oh,
It's so funny because when the moment came, and I'm sure you've experienced this with clients, I was not me. I was a 6-year-old child.
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt like a little girl. And I remember literally, I was like, this is my inner child is speaking right now. And
Hmm.
it was so healing. And it was also like so painful at the same time. But it's so beautiful when you can actually see those parts of yourself and you're like, whoa, oh, you've just been so confused this whole time. Like,
Yeah,
and you've been just protecting me this whole time, but it's okay now. Like, I've got
yeah,
this.
yeah. Oh, that's so nice. That's beautiful. And that's all it is. Like we've just got all of us have our inner child like within us. So every time, not every time, but a lot of the time we feel triggered or that's just them inside, like activating something within us. And this is what I love. This is, yeah, it was an absolute game changer for me when, I guess like we're all operating from our own beliefs and our own inner children. So if you can just move through life with that lens and realize when other people are acting a certain way, it's actually not about you. It's just that, and just imagine all these little children like kind of running around. Like once, yeah, if you can look at life that way, it just really does take, just has less power and less like hold over you, you know? It's like, well, they're just doing the best that they can within their capacity and what they know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was huge for me once I kind of looked at
Yeah.
people and how, because people would obviously annoy me, like I'm human. But looking at it from that lens, it's like, well, they're doing their best. And if it's annoying me and triggering something within me, then that's for me to look at, you know? It's like that's my stuff to kind of look at. Yeah. It's very
Absolutely.
humbling.
It is. I love that too. Like, all I'm going to do now, I'm going to be out like everyone's
Yeah,
just a chat. But it also brings through like such an opportunity for compassion and forgiveness, especially, a
definitely.
lot of us have like, oh, our parents. And once you start
Yeah.
doing the work, it's almost like parents become villainized. But I'm like, but they're also dealing with their stuff. And like, thankfully, in this generation, we've got a lot more tools. We've got a
Yeah.
lot more space to be able to
Yeah.
do this work. Like, everyone is
Definitely.
literally doing the best they can.
Yeah.
So, if someone's listening to this and they're feeling disconnected, they're resonating with a lot of your
Mm-hmm.
like pre-story and what we're talking about, like being in the work,
Mm-hmm.
what would you recommend they start with if they're really curious, about doing the work? Like, what would
Mm.
you recommend they start with?
Yeah, that's a tough question because it all just depends on, where they're at in their journey. But I would say just there's heaps of obviously resources out there. There's, heaps of people doing this work out there. So I would say probably support is the if you're really serious and kind of wanna like kind of get a hold of things and genuinely like feel better and not be all up in your head and be more connected to your body. It's doing the emotional processing for sure, 100%. And you can try it yourself. Like there's lots of, as I said, tools out there online. But I have found with support, someone to guide you through that is amazing. When you're first starting out, for sure. And also like a bit of accountability because, with accountability, you're 60% more inclined to do things when you have that. So it can be like, okay, it just brings awareness to like how you are operating in life and the decisions that you're making and the things that you're doing. And when you've got someone in your corner to kind of, hold that space and with zero judgment and only compassion, like that, it's a game changer, honestly. But also that accountability to actually do the thing and maybe sit with yourself for 5 minutes, whereas maybe you wouldn't do that if you don't have someone there reminding you to do that. So I would say probably support 100%. Like
I
you don't
fully
need to do it alone. Like you don't need to figure things out alone. And I always have someone in my corner, some shape, way, or form, like always,
absolutely. And I mean, sometimes, and I mean, even like the work, you doing the work you do, me doing the
Yeah.
work I do, like I'm a business mentor, but I've got a business
Mm.
mentor. Why? Because like I can't see everything myself. When you're in it, you
Yeah.
can't see it always. And there'll be somebody else that comes in. And I mean, your chart, like you
Mm-hmm.
literally have
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
like backup stuff in your
Yeah.
chart. It's like you're here to do the emotional work with people. Like
Yes.
you're actually here to do this too. Like it's not
Yes.
just, oh, I'm passionate about this. Like
Yes.
everything has set you up to this moment of being able to steward
Yeah.
people this way. And so when you actually go to somebody who they're doing this work because it's a part of what they're
Mm.
actually here to do as well,
Yeah.
they see stuff you can't see and that they're here to guide you in that way. And it
Mm.
helps cut corners in such a beautiful way.
Yes.
It's
And
powerful.
that's the thing, right? Is like, well, number one, human design gave me the confidence to lean into my gifts and actually, yeah, this is what I'm here to do, actually. And number two is, yeah, like as you said, like I've got the energy to like hold that, and not everyone has, right? Like you can go to a healing session with anyone, but like not and I think through my experience of holding this space for people and to see the depths that they can go is again like confirmation, like, okay, yes, I am actually here to do this because people feel safe with me. They feel safe to be vulnerable, to maybe go places where they haven't felt safe to go before, because I hold that energy, that grounded space, with that non-judgmental, yeah, open arms.
You could kind of let your past self know, not your past self, but your
Yeah.
pre-work self know
Yeah.
anything now. If you could say anything to her, or you could say anything to someone who's listening and just like needs that boost, like what would you say?
I would say chill out, relax, take a breath, and it's not so serious. And honestly, just to trust everything that you're navigating and have done up until this point is for a reason. That's one thing I would say, is just to trust that everything you've gone through and are currently experiencing is for a reason, and you will come out the other side. It's just having that trust that it will unfold. That's probably what I would say, because when I was in it, it just felt like not very nice at all, you know. But knowing that there's light on the other side, yeah, it's like the best is yet to come, really. You will be, and you know that saying, like, you will be living your best life. It's like that. I just wanted to say that you will be living your best life for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
absolutely.
ultimately what I want to support people to do, is genuinely live their best life. Not what they think their best life is, or what they see on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. It's like, no, what is good for you and what is your best life, and genuinely feeling happy without anything externally, making you happy. That's like my goal,
That's
really, to support as
prosperity.
many women. Yeah.
That's true prosperity. Like, I'm good because I'm just happy in my reality. I don't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
That is peace.
Yeah.
That's in a piece right
Peace.
there.
Yeah. Which is my incarnation cross, is like
Eden.
RAX Eden. It's like literally creating heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like creating my little slice of heaven, on this earth, and bringing as many people along for the ride, and really activating them into their awakening. And I just want to say as well, to anyone listening who feels like, oh, I would love, or, if they look at you in your business, or maybe me, or people online, think, oh, I'd love to do something like, like, oh, I'd love to do that. But let me tell you, if I can do it and get to this point, anyone can. And I'm just going to leave that there, because anything is possible.
It is. And that feeling you're feeling as well, it might not be that you, especially if you've got an open G center, it might not be that you need to go and do that exact thing, but it is activating a part of you that says you can have that too.
Yeah.
And like listening to that activation, because it is just that thread where it's like, ooh, it opens your perspective to a completely new potential reality.
Yeah. 100%. And if you just know that if it's all your subconscious mind here with all the beliefs, that will be the only thing blocking you. But when you've got the right tools and support to unlock that and rewire that, anything's possible.
Absolutely. And then it's like experience becomes your medicine now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell us how we can work with you. Tell us how we can find you.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram, _Kelly_Hughes_. So I mainly hang out there. And then that will give you all the links to my website, email, etc. So that's the best place.
Amazing. And what would you, like what kind of offers do you have? I wanna know what you're offering.
Yeah, so I offer human design readings. So I've got a few different options there. So I'm very much tailored to the busy working woman, I guess, because that was me once upon a time. Also, mothers kind of tend to come into my world. So I've got two types of readings. So you can meet with me one-on-one and we can do a deep dive, or I can do a short kind of like recorded reading that you can listen to at your own leisure. I also offer healing sessions, so utilizing root cause therapy. So I have different packages. And then I have my signature program called the Energy Reset. So this is a 6-week human design and healing journey where we work together for 6 weeks. We have fortnightly healing sessions. So again, utilizing root cause therapy, and fortnightly human design insights. So this is really a space where you get to learn all about your human design. And even if you know about your human design, it's like we go even deeper and we really tailor it to like what you're experiencing, maybe your family situation. It's all really personalized to you. And then we're doing the deep healing work in the sessions. And then we're doing stuff in between as well for integration and anything that comes up. Because I'm, in your back pocket every day, basically supporting you. So that's my signature, one-on-one program. So I think I'm going to be running that again in July, I believe, looking at dates at the moment. So there'll be a link on my Instagram to hop on the wait list for that.
Amazing. And just a heads up, everyone listening, if you're interested in that, I've seen her build it. It's good stuff.
And you helped me, didn't you, build all of that and have put the strategy behind it?
Oh, it's good stuff.
So good.
This has been awesome. I mean, we
So
always
good.
go deep, but I love that you shared this, and this is the beauty of like the work, even human design, we all get to share it in different ways because we're all designed to impact in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Love it. Well, thank you for hopping on with me.
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
All right, bye.
Bye.